everybody, welcome back. It is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida, and we are, of course, very, very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network, and I'm coming to you from the Frank Walker Law Studio. Welcome in, guys. How we doing tonight?
I'm great.
Lovely.
Yes, little delay there in the start. The toggle wasn't working on the intro video, but I think we've got it all set now, so we're good to go.
StreamYard's been a little uncooperative.
Yeah,
the last couple of weeks it's been a little uncooperative, hasn't it?
It has, but I'll say this though, and I'm going to show you this right now, and Ben won't like this because it's going to cover him up a bit. So they're in the beta stages of doing the of where they show the chat live, and so like Ian just put Ben sucks in there appropriately timed, and yeah, and so we'll play with it. I don't know if I'll leave it on there or not, but anyway, welcome in everybody. I see I'm not even going to name everybody because there's a lot of people in already. And welcome in.
Fuck you, Aaron.
Everybody. Yeah, oh yes, glad to see everybody's back. Where did Jericho Cotchery go?
I think it was Jericho Crotchery.
Jericho Crotchery, is that what it is? Man,
I thought that was Scarps.
How does he play Jericho that way? He was nothing but a good player for the Steelers.
He was.
And very quickly, I would like to give a salute, if we could, to Mr. Norm Peterson. Look, I know all of you in the chat and watching the show, you might not have watched Cheers, but what a fantastic TV program and one of the great characters of all time. George Wendt, who played Norm Peterson. Cheers, Norm. Cheers. Very, very sad. Very sad. In any case, lots of goings on. NFL owners met this week up in Minnesota. How would you like to get that invitation? The NFL owners meeting is going to be in Minnesota. You'd think they'd be somewhere a little nicer, maybe, but
we're here.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Jericho Crotchery, are you in with us now?
Hello, sir. I am. I think.
Oh, excellent.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to remove this thing because it's covering Ben, and it's just irritating.
I mean, we could just
thank you.
Yeah.
That's rude to Ben. That's
yeah, it is. It is. Mark Malone, yes. Norm died this week. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't take a few minutes to watch some of the great highlights, you need to. Just awesome.
Great show.
Yeah, one of the best. One of
Fantastic
the best ever.
show.
The one where he faked a fainting spell so he could get his bar stool. That was fantastic.
Is that the one where the guy's sitting there? They're waiting to go.
The guy sitting there is like, "Oh, sorry, we're sitting there."
Yeah, they're waiting for a table to go upstairs.
No, one of my favorites this week was when the real old guy comes in and he sits at the end of the bar near the door, and he starts telling Woody about, I've been here for 20 years and this looks the same and this looks the same. He says, I even remember that thing behind Norm down there.
Yeah. The wallpaper behind Norm. The wallpaper behind Norm.
Oh man, Aaron has never seen Cheers, and once again, another total reason to not respect Aaron.
Ouch.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron, but you got to watch Cheers, man. It's a classic.
Yeah. There's the whole Ohio thing, man.
That's true.
Hey, man, easy.
Got to factor that in. Yeah. Scarps. I have a question right off the bat. Who is the one Pittsburgh Steeler you would most want to watch play flag football in the Olympics?
Minka.
Oh, man. Yeah, he might actually make a play.
He had like 3 in the Pro Bowl that was the flag football game. That was going to be my answer. Yeah.
No, I would probably say Calvin Austin the third.
That was mine. Yep.
He, and to be fair to him, and it's not really even him. It's just the fans' reaction to him. Like they thought he was going to be the next, Tyreek Hill, and he's actually better than Tyreek Hill because he doesn't get in trouble with the law. But I don't really care. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna
nor
keep it
do I.
rolling. No, Calvin Austin would be fun to see in that type of setting. He'd be tough to get down. And yeah, let's say CA3.
Ian, you were going to say Minka?
I was going to say Minka. That's flag football is a format where you want smaller, more agile, more quick than fast players. The big guys with straight line speed, I mean, they're good still, but they're not as good in that type of format. So a DK Metcalf probably isn't the best kind of guy, because if you're boxing somebody out, they're going to sit right there and hold your flag till you catch the ball and just pull it off right as soon as you catch it, which is just dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
You need guys who can catch the ball in space and run and things like that. So I think Minka on the defensive end would be good. TJ Watt would be good too, just because he did that tag show with his brothers. I mean, the dude is very agile and can get around quickly. So TJ or Minka would probably be my choices. Calvin Austin's a good choice too.
All right, Ben, who would you want to watch play flag football for an Olympic gold?
I agree with what Ian just said, in so much as you need good short area quickness, and good change of direction skills. Which Steeler?
Yeah,
it's got to be a Steeler, right?
Yeah. So the new rule that the league has agreed to is that one single player from each team is allowed to participate.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I just thought they made it okay for the players to play in the Olympics.
No, the rule is one
guy,
one player. Yep.
Is it? So I didn't see this, but is it just only allowed to participate for the United States, or are they allowed to participate for another country?
No, I think it's just one player per team is allowed to participate in the Olympics.
Oh, that changes the dynamic a little bit.
Well,
Crystal, we'll read in a minute, but Crystal answer. So I'm gonna go with Gillian.
Ben's mic is sounding a little bit like Peter Frampton right now.
I'm gone. Oh, that's fantastic.
I laughed at that reference. That's funny.
I figure you'd appreciate that.
Do you feel like Ben's Wi-Fi?
The hell? I don't have Wi-Fi in Oregon?
Something's going on, Ben.
Yeah, something's definitely happening there. It's on the struggle bus.
Logging out, logging back in.
Okay, give it a shot. All right. The flag football thing. Look, they.
Yeah.
Do you drink like I do? Outstanding. Yes, and Aaron, to your point, it is getting very, very popular at schools, and girls love it. They absolutely eat up the flag football stuff. We have always at our school around me, they do an annual powder puff game that is very well attended and played by the girls. And look, the NFL moved to it in the Pro Bowl because they finally realized that the actual Pro Bowl was just an awful product. Even though it routinely still got more viewers than any of the other All-Star games, which is truly amazing. But it's just that some of the players expressed an interest in playing. Yeah, Scarps.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you had a comment.
I was going to, but I wanted to fact check myself before I.
Gotcha.
Did that. I do wonder. Can I jump on the Olympic thing for a minute? Yeah. I do wonder though. Obviously, only so many players can play for a given country.
Mm-hmm.
The Olympics does have some very lenient rules about what country you're allowed to play for and where you can claim heritage from and things like that. So I wonder if some more NFL players will try and get on rosters for other countries. Obviously there's a large Samoan population of NFL players. I know a lot of NFL players have Nigerian heritage and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So some current guys too actually were born in Nigeria. So it's possible that some of those teams could be the one NFL player that doesn't necessarily play for the United States team but goes and plays for one of those other teams.
One of the cool things the NFL started doing is they always have the American flag on the back of the helmet, but they've also started to include the flag of the player's ancestry. And we see that. So you're right, Ian. Maybe that's possible. And hello, Jen. Wonderful to see you tonight.
Yeah. So I'm going to sound like such an asshole, but I'm going to say it. Like, I think there are far too many Olympic sports as it is. But if you're going to do it, let the normal Joes have a shot at glory, and like there, I can't remember his name. It might be his last name. Is it Doucet? Like he's all over social media. He's like he's like a quarterback. Please, somebody in the chat, please help me out here. There's like a top NFL flag football player. He's a quarterback, and this dude is like elusive as hell, and he is a hell of a flag football athlete.
Okay,
I mean he is small, right? He's never going to cut it in the pros, but like that dude, I don't want to say deserves, but that dude is a flag. There it is. Thank you,
Daryl Doucet.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. I always know I can count on you.
Daryl Doucet.
What? Come on, but like
sorry.
He like.
Sorry, my bad.
No, but like that like he is like. Christ almighty, but like he dedicates his life like to flag football.
To flag football. Oh,
okay, but he's obviously but like this is my point. Like he's not good enough to play professionally. Right. Like just as, and I mean like no disrespect to like gymnasts, but like is there a professional gymnast league that I missed somewhere? Like
so
like these people dedicate their lives to like their craft, and then all of a sudden like Justin Jefferson, or I'm just using him as an example, is going to come in and fucking torch everybody and take away a spot from someone.
I think
or
Tyreek Hill.
Or Tyreek Hill. Like I think that's just like a little bit absurd. Like that would be to me like when they do those 3-on-3 tournaments, 3-on-3 basketball tournaments. That'd be like right now, LeBron, Anthony Edwards, and
SGA.
SGA. I was going to say Halliburton, who was unbelievable. Sure. Like God bless, the dude's really good. That like
Halliburton actually would match well with those two.
Well, they're all USA players. My point is like that'd be those three going against anybody else in the world.
Well,
like even Luka and his two boys from Slovenia who are gonna like. It's just like it just feels like I don't know. Like it's already like an absurd Olympic sport as it is, and then you're going to let NFL players like participate in it. I think that's just stupid.
I've always believed. I'll say this real quick, Ben, then I'll shut up. I've always believed the Olympics was about amateurism. I hate the fact that the pros are in it, but that ship sailed. It is what it is.
Yeah, no. When did it start? Did it start with the NHL players playing in hockey games?
I think it was the basketball was first, wasn't it?
No,
yeah, I think.
No, it wasn't. Basketball was a reaction to something else, and basically, it was the USA was not dominating basketball.
Right, they started losing
because there were professional players they were playing against, and so the NBA.
Yes.
Oh, well, that being the case, we're going to do that. But I think even before that, the NHL had players playing in the Olympics, not on the American team, but they could play on the other teams. And so they eventually just said, okay, well, we're just going to let these athletes be athletes, and we're going to dominate this too.
88 games was the official change.
Canada still started
88, but that still wasn't even NBA pros didn't start playing that year, did they?
The IOC relaxed its amateurism rules starting in the 70s, and then it was a full lax in 88.
Yeah. So what I was going to say before when Scarps was talking about this Daryl Douche guy who dedicates his life to playing flag football because he's not good enough playing the NFL. So basically, he's kind of like Shedeur Sanders, except that Sanders excels
appreciate
at
you on
being
that.
a social media personality, and he dedicates his life to it.
Legendary.
I mean, you gotta give him props as a social media personality. The dude is, as an influencer, he's pretty goddamn amazing, right? I mean,
well, is it him or is it his people?
it's both. You know, he's
Yeah.
got his media team and his social media team and
yeah.
his filmographer and his rap coach, and he's got a whole crew of people. He probably has like 20 people on the payroll.
Rap coach.
Yeah. By the way, I
need one.
found it interesting that Freak mentioned tennis as his last name is Edberg. Wasn't the great Stefan Edberg? Wasn't he great?
No,
tennis
it
guy?
was the guy
Was it
in
a
the
different-
70s with the fucking mullet and the headband.
Well, you're thinking of Bjorn Borg.
Easy there.
No.
Bjorn, I think Stefan Edberg. I'm
No,
telling
and
you, it was
We
All
also
right,
have
Stephon
a
Edberg,
Robert Graff in the chat.
Steffi Graf. That's
yeah,
right.
see? Look at this. We're
We're all over the fucking place.
That's
got
right.
Mark
Part 3 is
Malone and
different
Sam
from
Malone.
basketball.
Great.
Yeah. Let's get back to the NFL owners meetings. We perused a little bit. Yeah, Ed Berg. Thank you, Freak. You're correct. The Tush Push. Ian, how surprised were you that this is still allowed?
I'm not surprised.
Really?
Wow.
I mean, there was stories out there that it was going to get banned, and I was I don't know. It's still, I think the fact that there hasn't been any injuries on that specific play, it's hard to make a player safety case.
Yeah.
When there haven't been injuries, when they've made changes to the kickoffs and all that, which are dumb to begin with, the changes, but
we'll get to that.
yeah, I think a lot of those the case was made when they showed data that said there is X percentage of injuries on kickoffs versus every other play that happens. But when there's no injuries, it's hard to make a player safety case. So it really came down to one team is good at it, no one else has figured out how to do it. But yeah, so I wasn't shocked, but maybe a little surprised. But I wasn't shocked.
I was shocked.
Ben, you were surprised.
I was shocked. There were a lot of reasons leading up to it. One, it was very clear that Troy Vincent and Roger Goodell wanted it banned.
Right.
Okay. And when those guys start lobbying for something and they have a couple of months to lobby owners, usually that happens. And then the day before, the rules committee and the competition committee both endorsed banning it.
Yep.
On top of that, there have been 3 OCs that came out of the Eagles and became head coaches. And 2 of those teams voted to ban it.
Yeah.
As well.
That's a great point.
I'm surprised. It fell 2 votes short. I think that when Jeffrey Lurie was making his case about how this is a little boy's wet dream, if you're so good at a play that they ban it, I was like, so you mean like when they changed the rules because Mel Blount was too good at playing corner?
Yeah.
Or when they changed the rules because Hines Ward was too good at blocking downfield, or when they changed the rules because James Harrison was too big and strong to be tackling wide receivers, quarterbacks, and running backs? You mean that? Because there's a precedent, Jeffrey. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, his little diatribe, I don't even know what the hell you want to call it, but bringing Scarps, what's your take on
I'm
it?
sure, I'm sorry. I'm sure there are other examples that don't involve Steelers, but this is the team I'm closest to, so I know all of these examples.
That's more than fair to bring those up, though.
I agree.
It's true. I don't know. The chatter was that it was going to be banned.
Yeah,
and that's incredible people were saying that.
Yep,
credible people were saying that it was going to pass. I'm sorry, it was going to pass that it was banned.
Yeah.
And like devil's advocate and is that if Philly can do it, why can't everybody else? And I'm serious. Like when the Steelers need a yard, they can't get it.
No, it's been that way for years.
And I'm not saying that that's because Russell Wilson socked or Fields or Pickett or Mason or
Fields
Mitch.
would get that yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fields would get it.
He was the one guy I felt confident with.
Fields would get it, and then Ben would probably get it too.
And late career Ben probably not, but
prime Ben would have gotten it.
Ben would have gotten 3 when they needed 1.
Yes,
I mean,
but
shit.
Hey
Joe,
I hate that some teams have stopped it, but I hate that Philly brags about it so much. Like that's what annoys me, because I'll tell you this right now. If Jalen Hurts, and God forbid he does, but if Jalen Hurts fucking gets hurt on one of those plays, and he has been hurt. I don't know if it was on the tush push, but he got hurt.
Yeah.
Got hurt earlier this year because Pickett played. Like, he got hurt in something. I can't remember if it was that play, but like Jalen Hurts gets hurt during that play. I bet you Philly fans and Philly would shut up about it. Like, there is no evidence that shows that it's against player safety or it hurts player safety, but like I just don't think it's a football play. I don't think it's
not. It's
to
rugby.
To me, it's no different than an illegal formation or an illegal shift or any of that. And how many times a year does a team have a first down or a solid gain, and the ref will come over and be like, "Oh, illegal shift. The tight end was covered this way, and the wide receiver was in motion this way." Then fuck it, who cares? Let him run. Like, don't have any formations. It's like, but yeah. So I am surprised. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised.
Yeah,
go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry. I just want to close up Scarp's point real quickly. The reason that people hate Cowboys fans is they're fucking belligerent assholes. And they hate Philly fans for the same fucking reason. And the reason that Philly fans and Cowboys fans don't get along is they're so alike. And so I think from a fan perspective, the reason that people wanted to see this banned wasn't the player safety thing. It is the fact that it is a rugby rule. It's a rugby play. It's not a rugby fucking, it's like, if you're going to make it legal for all of us to join arms and push forward and other guys to bump up behind us and shove, then the defense should be able to do it too, first.
Yeah.
And second, if we're going to do that, let's make it legal to do leverage on kick plays. Let's make all that shit legal, make it all the same across the board. Or nobody can do it, one of those two. And again, looping it back to the point, the reason that most of the fans wanted to see this gone and banned is they hate Philly fans because they're fucking obnoxious. And they won't shut the fuck up about it.
I agree. I think that's been a big part of it, but I also, in large part, agree with what Scarp said, and you guys have reiterated that it's a rugby football play. That, to me, that's what it is. And
it's a rugby play. It's not a football play.
Well, you're right. I don't know why I added that word in there, but it is. It's a rugby play, and it irritates me. I think your point about then we need to see advantage on kicking plays be brought back.
Yes.
Wasn't it just last year the Steelers got hosed on a play like that where we were accused of
where they thought that Minka had used leverage and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to make this play legal, then we should be able to play leapfrog on kick plays. We should be able to.
Cliff, that's an excellent question. Can you imagine the tush push back in the 70s? Like
again, prior to 2004, this play was illegal. You could not pull or push a ball carrier downfield. Nope. All we're advocating is that they go back to that rule. The reason they changed it was the officials said it was too hard to officiate. Well, fucking figure it out.
Yeah. If you can figure out everything else, then why can't you figure that out? And that drives me freaking nuts. There was a report that did come out today that suggested, and again, this was some fairly prominent voices, that they think the NFL put the Packers up to do this because they don't have an NFL owner, if you will. They're owned by the fans, and they thought it would be easier if Green Bay came forward with this. I think that's I don't like it. But I also didn't like the fact that Green Bay attacked the player safety thing when there was no evidence. I thought they should have just stuck to the rugby thing. They should have just stuck to the points that both Ben and Scarps made, and it would have been fine. But it just never didn't get the necessary votes, and so we're stuck with it for at least one more year.
Yeah,
I don't think they can vote on it now, at least for 1 year. And I'll be curious to see, because there's some really, really smart defensive coordinators out there, and I will be very, very curious to see if somebody comes up with something.
What you need is a couple of safeties jumping over the line and tackling the quarterback. And you can't use, unfortunately, you don't have the ability to play rugby like the offense does. So you can't touch the defensive lineman as you do it. So you need somebody who's as athletic as like a Troy Polamalu was, who can just jump over the line and grab the guy and basically wrench his fucking head off. And then when there is a spinal injury because you got a defender pulling him back while offensive players are pushing him forward, then they'll go, oh, I guess it was a good idea to go ahead and ban this. Maybe we should have made this illegal. Whoopsie. Because you're right. You're right. It's going to get there. It's going to be to that point. Last year, the guy who was the Redskins, Commanders.
Frankie
Louvu.
Who was trying to time the snap and get in there. He was just frustrated by it. He's like,
well, frustrated, and then they were going to throw him out of the game and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the refs, and I'm pretty sure the announcers were like on the NFL side, and I'm like, what do you want the guy to do in this situation?
Right,
like he knows he's already at a disadvantage.
Let him score. It's fucking bullshit.
I mean, he already knows that, and I mean this, and I fucking. If someone ever timed the snap as well as Troy did against the Eagles, they would call a penalty on him. And I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
They would. They'd be like, they would call some bullshit leverage or unsportsmanlike conduct or offsides or encroachment or some shit. Because anyway. You know what's funny is we get so pissed about these things, but we watch every game.
Well, we do, but I almost wonder if it's not so that we can see that type of thing happen. Ian, here's my question.
Yeah.
What happens if a team, let's say it's the Eagles, 1st and 10 at the 25, okay, their own 25.
Yeah.
What's to stop them from doing the tush push all the way down the frickin' field?
Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, you could. I mean, let's not forget that it wasn't that long ago that the Eagles went 25 plays, 12 minutes, and 90 yards down the field against us. They used the tush push a few times, but I mean, you're right. They could. I mean, it'd be like watching Navy play, running the triple option. 3 yards in the cloud of dust, right? Same philosophy. Yep. If you get 3 yards every play, you get a first down. You'd have to convert a 4th and 1, but you would get a first down on 4th down every time. And yes, you would matriculate the ball down the field and take a lot of time off the clock. And yes, there's nothing to stop them from doing it.
No. And I just wonder if some coach that hates this just doesn't think, you know what, I'm going to do this in the preseason just to piss off the people back in New York and watch their TV ratings go to hell or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit in the wind. But the other big decision here was the onside kick. Okay, just to set the table, the rule last year was that number one, you could only do it in the fourth quarter. You had to be trailing, and you had to announce your intentions of doing it. So this year,
the receiving teams lined up. That's because of where the receiving teams lined up.
Right.
I mean, you have to.
You have to. So this year, you once again have to announce your intention, but you can do it at any point in the game, but you must be trailing. In order to do it, and they're going to move the two sides, the receiving side, the kicking side, 1 yard closer. Now,
the ball's being kicked from the 34 as opposed to the 35.
They all I read all week was that it was 9 yards instead of 10 yards. 9
No,
yards of
it's-
separation.
I thought it was 11 or
It's still 10 yards, but they're moving it back a yard, which I don't understand. It's like 10 yards is 10 yards.
Yeah,
They're
I don't
moving
get
it back
that.
a yard to make it easier for the officials to judge where the ball is when it's recovered. I'm like, what?
The thing that I immediately think about is the strategy that kicking teams are employing now, which is have a couple of gunners go down and obliterate the hands team that's in that front line to keep that ball bouncing around as long as possible.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, how is this player safety? Because that ball is meant to bounce high in the air. So what is the return guy going to do? He's going to go up in the air, and now he's totally vulnerable to getting drilled in the chops. But hey, player safety.
But okay, yeah, I get what you're saying as far as that being an onside kick,
right.
but as far as anyway, I hear what you're saying,
thing is
Mark.
that the old
I
days-
think the best way to receive an onside kick is to is to hit the oncoming kicking team guys. Like if you got 3 guys in your general area, you need to get 3 hats on those 3 guys. Even if you haven't touched the ball yet, you need to hit 3 hats on those guys to hit them as hard as you can.
Yeah. And that's also a strategy that's been
and
used.
it's legal, and you don't have to wait 10 yards before you hit them.
Right.
You can hit them at 5 yards. Doesn't make a goddamn bit of difference.
But it strikes me as odd because they've gone to this dynamic kickoff to eliminate that exact thing. The bam,
We all agree they should go back to the old kickoff. In fact, I think that they should go back to the old kickoff with the wedge and the wedge buster.
Absolutely.
Those were some amazing fucking collisions.
That was the good old
Remember
days.
Orpheus Roy when he used to run down the field? Oh my God.
Yes.
You'd be like, oh God, here it comes. Oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. Oh,
he was
shit.
a true wedge buster.
Oh, dude, he was a truck.
Yeah.
It was like watching a truck drive down the field and hit 3 guys. Oh my fucking God.
Anyway, Danny Smith, once again, that's why he gets paid the big bucks, man. Danny's got his hands full. He's going to have to come up with some different ideas. Scarps?
I want to go on a rant here, and whether this is accurate or not remains to be seen. But what I want to say
doesn't matter in this program.
What I want to say is that the NFL took one of the most exciting plays in the game and completely ruined it and completely massacred it.
Yep.
When growing up, I remember watching Super Bowls, and the first thing I remember is all the flash bulbs on that opening kickoff.
Yes,
because you never knew what was going to happen, and I can't remember the last time there was an opening kickoff where I was like, "Oh shit, this is going to be a real exciting play," and not a kneel down or a touchback or this and that. And I feel that the NFL took advantage of a play that they knew they could take advantage of, and they used it. PR guy here. They use it for positive PR because they could point to it and say, oh, well, concussions are down 40% this year or 50% this year. And they'll always attribute it to the kickoff rule changes, even though, and this is where I might be wrong, I would love to see some in-depth evidence to show that there's any that yes, okay, on kickoffs, concussions are down X amount of percentage. But what about all the other plays? I would love to know that. And I don't see that. I see overall concussions. I see concussions in the preseason, in practice, in game, but I don't see concussion breakdown based on the play. And I hate that because they could point to this. Hey, we implemented a new kickoff rule, and concussions on kickoffs are down this amount, or concussions overall are down this amount, when you completely massacred that play, and then you completely massacred the element of surprise when it comes to the onside kick. Who could forget Cower at Indianapolis when it didn't work? But who could forget Sean Payton dialing it up in the Super Bowl against the Colts?
And Cower in Super Bowl 30.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, 32. But the Colts game. But the 1 in 30 worked, right?
The 1 in 30 worked.
But the Steelers at the Colts Monday Night Football did not work.
Right.
and then the Colts and Saints Super Bowl. So I understand the NFL was looking for some positive publicity, especially when it came to head injuries, and they found it in that kickoff rule. And to me, I still think you could have a kickoff and have it exciting and fun, and it not be as dangerous as the ones we fell in love with. But I think that they're being disingenuous by constantly pointing to that rule change and saying that, oh, the game is safer. The game is safer. Maybe it's safer on that play, but I don't think it's safer overall.
No,
because it's a dangerous sport.
It's a good rant. I like it, and I agree with it. Anything else from the owners' meetings before we move on to some Steelers stuff here?
Were there any other rule changes that were odd that you guys found?
I mean, the Lions pulled back on that reseeding the playoffs thing.
They knew that they weren't going to get the votes, so they
correct.
Because owners aren't going to. I'm sorry, if you're an owner, if you're the owner of the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you play in a tough division, are you going to give up a home playoff game because your division's so good that it brings you down to 10-11 wins when when the NFC North gets to play the fucking sisters of the I don't know what the hell they were last year. I mean, basically it was they get to play Arizona Deaf and Blind School, and they win 11-12 games, all of them, because they got to play a really weak schedule. So now you're screwed, even though you won your division. So you need to give up a home playoff game? No, never. It's never happening.
No, I think that's exactly why it.
Actually, we did. True story. We were asked to. This actually happened, and I'm sorry and embarrassed to admit it. We were asked to scrimmage the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind when I was in high school.
Oh, bullshit.
None of the players were blind, obviously.
You were on that team, though.
None of them. My coach announced it to us, and basically it was like, so we're going to play all the sophomores and all the juniors, but I want you guys to take it easy. All right?
I'll bet you they came after you, didn't they?
I'm sorry?
Those kids on the deaf
the deaf kids? I mean, a little, they tried to play tough, but we kicked the shit out of those guys.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if we don't move on from this.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting there.
I just pictured Ben just fucking clocking some poor deaf kid. And
I played in that scrimmage.
Standing over him, just talking shit. And the deaf kid is just like, I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know what you're saying. In that scrimmage, I literally played probably
like Robin Williams. Thank you for listening to me. It's just like
I probably played like 7 or 8 snaps in that scrimmage. They were like, yeah, you're out. Get the fuck out.
Was that before you got hurt?
Me? I didn't get hurt. I just was like,
Ben was throwing up gang signs.
Well, he had to try and talk sign language, right?
Right. That's right. That's right.
No, but I don't know where that even came from. Like they thought we were nice Catholic kids because we went to a Catholic school or something. Was like, we're a 5A school. They want to scrimmage. This is real.
Maybe it was like supposed to be like a goodwill thing or something. I don't know.
Clearly was, but
one more.
Yes, Scarbs.
Sorry. I support all communities, including the deaf community. The point is, Jim Irsay died. Rest in peace. Yeah. A guy who definitely had his demons, but
for sure.
Was sort of a polarizing figure in his own right. He invested a lot of time and money in the Indianapolis Colts. He drafted arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I know that, that decision, along with working with Bill Polian for years, we all know that going to Indianapolis that Super Bowl year was no easy task, and we won that. The Colts were a powerhouse for a very long time. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay. He was also an avid guitar collector.
He was
an
amazing guy,
amazing collection. And he was very, very positive for the city of Indianapolis, and for a franchise that, the Baltimore Colts, not a bad franchise by any means, but also they left in the middle of the night. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
But his father, father.
So, but I think he did better, and I think he did right by the city. And strange but true. Before that the Indiana Pacers game last night, before he died, he basically tweeted like, "Good luck to the Pacers." Somebody tweeted, "Good luck to the Pacers," and they had one of the most amazing comebacks last night. And I don't know if you believe in science or faith, but if you don't believe in either, it makes you think. Last night, you're like, "Holy shit!"
The thing that is coming out about Irsay today that really jumps out at me was how generous the guy was. Like how he would go out of his way to help people financially primarily, but he went out of his way to do so when he didn't have to. And he was insistent that there wasn't any publicity about it. He didn't want that. He just wanted to kind of try and help people do the right thing. And, I was one of the people, honestly, that thought the guy was a fuck up when he was alive, because he was clearly a drug addict, and pills and booze, as you pointed out, Barbs, today, will take years off your lives. And, obviously that probably did do that to him. 65 is a little young to be dying.
Hell yeah.
But it sounds like the dude, I'm not saying he made up for, because I don't believe in that. I don't believe you can make up for the bad things you do. I think the good things you do, the things you're proud of, the things that you're ashamed of have to coexist. But, it doesn't sound like everything was bad. And we have a tendency as a society to judge people based upon the worst thing they've ever done, instead of looking at the totality of their life. And I think that guy maybe deserves another look. That's all.
Well, Peyton Manning had a great comment today. He said that, Jim Irsay made Indianapolis a football town. And, as you guys know, Indiana has been a basketball, state since its inception. Okay. And Indianapolis is definitely a great sports town. It's a great laid out city in terms of being able to, and Scarps, you've been there several times, in terms of being able to get from A to B to C without ever having to get in a car. Everything's walkable.
Especially when C is the White Castle.
Yeah, that's right. The White Castle. But let's not forget too, man, some of those Colts teams were dog shit. I mean, they were bad, and he stuck with that franchise, and obviously the rest is history. So, going to be a tough week down there in Indy as they celebrate his life. As far as
ask a question, just
sure.
Moving on from the Jim Irsay talk. Ben said something that I think is very true, that we should not judge someone by their worst moments, but look at the totality of their life.
Oh, boy.
So are we saying that we should not judge Mason Rudolph by tying the Detroit Lions in one game, but maybe look at the totality of his career? And he's actually not played that bad the last couple seasons.
Last season he played like dog shit. He regressed. Okay? You cannot make that claim. You cannot make the claim that he didn't regress last season.
He regressed from where he was with the Steelers. He regressed from where he was with the Steelers the year before. But look at Mason Rudolph's numbers last year and Aaron Rodgers' numbers last year, and they're almost identical.
They're pretty similar. I agree.
They are.
With that
they are. And
but I think for Rudy, that was a career-defining moment, and he sucked. Actually,
well, I agree with Scarps though. He was playing on a dog shit team, man.
He's a backup, But I mean, you go out. You have all week to practice. You go out against the fucking Detroit Lions, who were starting guys at DB who were literally on the street the week before. You should put up more than 16 points. That, including overtime in 5 quarters. That guy
Okay, so I'm gonna say this for the 1,000th fucking time, but he had.
I'm sorry, I put a quarter in Ben.
No.
Yes,
No,
you
no,
did.
no. He did this on purpose so that Scarps and I would argue.
No, but he once again he didn't know he was gonna start. Ben got COVID, and
He knew.
he was okay. He's put in the lineup, and I'm fairly certain they had their only opening drive touchdown of that season in that game. He
Did
threw
they
it
win?
to James. They threw it to James Washington.
Did they win?
Deontay Johnson fumbled.
Did-
Pat
did-
Freiermuth
did-
fumbled, and the
did they win?
defense gave about 1,000 rushing yards to guys you've never even heard of.
And
That-
how
that's
many
all true.
turnovers? How many turnovers did the defense generate?
Well,
that day?
okay.
Okay,
So
but Mason had one bad pick. I will agree with that. But if we want to sit here and blame everything on the quarterback, then
Couldn't
you got to
sustain a drive.
blame.
I'm not going to
fucking-
blame everything on him, but I'm
No,
blaming
but you-
that on him.
Okay, but then you got to blame Ben Roethlisberger for sucking ass in the playoffs.
Yes,
'cause
you
he
do.
did.
Yes, you do. You 100% have to hold Ben accountable for being terrible in the playoff
Okay.
games.
Bad example because you agree with me, but it's just like like. All right, whatever. We can move on from Mason.
well, no,
But
I just let me
agree.
finish.
It's a fair
I
point.
think that and don't get me wrong, the defense in those playoffs losses when Ben started didn't play well. They gave up a lot of points, but Ben put them in really, really bad positions. You can't
I agree.
give up 21 points in the first quarter because your defense, your quarterback's putting you in terrible positions, and then expect to win because now the opposing offense can dictate the pace, they can dictate the situation, they can dictate everything, and the defense is at a disadvantage. People want to go off about how the defense did this, the defense did that. No, Ben fucked them up. Ben did that. Ben was the culprit in most of those losses. I'm sorry. I love the guy. He's a Hall of Famer, but he fucked up in those games.
So let me say one thing in Mason's defense here. You know, we revert to that Lions game a lot. But should we
He
also
didn't lose it. You're right, Claudia. He tied it.
should we not give him credit for that 3-game run to end the season? You know, when he went to Seattle. I mean, the dude won at fucking Seattle. The Steelers never win at Seattle.
All three of those games. You have to give him props.
You know,
because
I agree with Freak. He is who he is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think any expectation that he's going to be up here or way down here, nope, he's going to be right here. And
I'm going to say what I said months ago on this show. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is this year. It just doesn't fucking matter. It could be Mason. It could be Aaron Rodgers, who I think if Aaron Rodgers signs, he's going to get hurt early in the season anyway, and it's not going to fucking matter. We're going to have Mason and fucking Will Howard and Skylar Thompson or whoever. I don't know what's going to happen. And Tomlin is still going to cobble together 8 or 9 wins regardless because he's Tomlin. It doesn't matter. Like, our quarterback situation sucks.
Well,
it is what it is. We're going to have to deal with it for a year.
In that light, the Steelers will begin the OTAs on Tuesday, which everything culminates with the mandatory mini camp. I think second week of June, maybe. Do I need to read that?
Awesome. Yes, you do.
Howard is going to take Big Ben to Cedar Point and send videos to Mason of them on Millennium Force sharing corn dogs. Jesus. That's pretty good, Aaron. In any case, here's my first question. Ian, I'll start with you. Do we see another soft holdout of sorts from TJ Watt?
A hold in, if you will.
Yes.
I can definitely see him going to OTAs, doing stuff in the weight room, maybe doing work on the side, but not participating in full team drills, similar to, you know, going to camp and working out in the weight room, but not taking part in stuff. Yeah, I could definitely see it. He wants a new deal. He has played well enough over the last few seasons. You know, last year he was playing injured and, you know, did have the statistically worst year of his career other than the year he was injured since his rookie year. So I think we probably do see another, you know, hold in, if you will. I don't see TJ as a guy who's gonna make a big fuss and hold out and go to the media a whole bunch.
Right.
But I could see him being more quiet about it and kind of just sitting in but not doing a lot.
Yeah. Scarps, agree, disagree?
What was the whole thing last time that with TJ with the hold in that he
Guaranteed
ran
money.
upstairs and burst into Art's office and said, or Omar's office and said, "Let's just sign it right now. My agent doesn't want me to sign it, but I'm gonna fucking sign it because I care." I don't think that's gonna happen this
I don't
time.
think that's what he said. I don't think that's what he said.
What do you think he said, Ben?
It was that's the way it was described.
Well, the way it was described to me was, and not by the media, not anything I read, but somebody who basically was like, hey, basically what Art said is he walked into his office and said, hey, listen, we got a deal. I'm tired of this. I'm done. I got to go work out. I'll see you in a little bit. And he left. And it was that kind of an interaction with Art, which, Art's not Dan. Obviously, if it was Dan, he probably would have given him a hug, but that wasn't the case. So, he said, Mr. Rooney, you got a deal. I'm over this. I'm done. I'm going to get my money anyway. I'm not going to worry about how much is guaranteed. But that was the holdup before.
Do you
this
agree
time,
though, Ben? Do you?
I don't think there'll be a holdout.
Yeah.
I think this time what's probably going to happen is, I've done the math. Basically, it's like $100 million guaranteed on a 4-year, $161 million extension.
Wow.
Which,
holy shit.
Listen. Looking back, at 28 million and what the percentage of the cap was at that point versus 40 million and what the percentage of the cap is now. The percentage 40 million or 40 and a half or whatever the fuck it's going to be, 40.25 is a lower percentage of the cap than 28 million was then.
It's amazing. That's how much the cap's
context.
It is.
This deal is going to get done. It's just a question of them hammering out the details.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Art doesn't just call him in and look. Here's the deal. We're going to offer you 4 years, $161 million. Okay. And I'm going to tell Omar to hammer it out with your agent, and we'll work out the details and the guaranteed money and all that stuff. Are you good with that? And just do a handshake thing. And this is non-binding. Obviously, this is just me and you talking.
Right.
Not signing, not pen to paper. We're just talking. That is the conversation, if I were Art, that I would have. 4 years, 161. Okay. Because that's a little more money than Myles Garrett got, and you're deserving of it. And I want you to know that. And I'll just tell Omar, you tell your agent, they'll work it out. They can be mean to each other. We don't need to be mean to each other. We like each other. It's fine. And it's done. If I'm Art, that's the deal I make.
And to Freak, real quick, Ryan, to Freak's point.
Yeah, I saw that. Go ahead.
Yeah, how much of this is going to be guaranteed?
To exceed Myles Garrett's guarantee, it needs to be like 94 million. So I said 100 million guaranteed.
I'm sorry. I am not paying him that much guaranteed money. I'm not. And I think he's
gonna.
Oh, okay, and that's fine. And I'm not gonna. What do the kids say? Crash out? Is that the thing? I'm not gonna crash out if they do that. But I want to as much as I want them to reevaluate the way they offer guaranteed money and guaranteed money after the first year or whatever, or ways to get out of a contract. I don't like that they're gonna guarantee, and it's not my money. It's not my money.
Happening.
But it's just you don't whatever. You're right. It's happening. I don't know why
it's happening.
Shit.
It's happening. It's a lesser percentage of the cap than it was then.
And
I'm just telling you.
So real quick,
This is actually an easier deal to do.
I get
than
it.
It was
I just
the last time. The last time
I don't
it was
think
harder.
I don't think any of us disagree with the fact it's going to happen. In Scarps, you cut me off when I'm wrong here.
100%.
Yeah. What I think you're saying is looking at his age, the history of pass rushers at that age and beyond. That's where I've been all off season.
And you two are a couple of haters.
And
I just want to put this out there into the universe for everyone to hear. Scarps and Mark are haters.
And this should have been done last year.
And Ben, if
it should have been done last year,
I agree it should have been done last year. But Ben, if you're gonna shit on Mason, for that Detroit Lions loss, then you should shit on TJ for literally making like one play in his whole postseason career. And everybody can sit there and be like, "Oh, well, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't fucking, it didn't matter if TJ Watt was playing it to his." But bullshit. As much as the offense sucked in these playoff games, if he had a forced fumble or something, and I'm not talking about that Chiefs game, any other game, maybe something would have happened differently.
I agree.
You know what? This is a fan base.
That's fair.
This is a fan base that routinely makes excuses for their favorite players.
Yes.
Pickens.
Yes.
Pickens. Who fucking TJ? And you know what? Like, and as much as like, and I love Cam. So, I love Cam, but like Cam gets excuses, but like,
Cam's the steadiest fucking player on the defense.
Yes. And like, if there's one person that gets benefit of the doubt, to me, it's Cam, not TJ.
Sorry,
but you know what?
But yeah,
everyone is hell bent on just like, no, we have to keep this guy. We have to do this. And it's like, no, I don't think it's his fault that we've never won a playoff game, but like the dude could make a fucking play that could change the course of a game. And everyone sits here and acts like it's kind of like how people were like Tomlin is always absolved of blame, right? Mm-hmm. It's like no, this isn't Mike's fault. This isn't Mike's fault. This isn't my fault. Oh, it's not TJ's fault. It's not this. It's not TJ's fault. He didn't. It's like if this dude okay, and I mean this, if this dude had 8 sacks in the postseason, and we'd only lost by a possession in each of his postseason games, and you could say, holy shit, the only reason that we were even close in these games in the postseason is because of TJ Watt. I'd say pay him whatever you want. But you know what? This whole defense, including him, does not show up in the playoffs. And I think that's a big deal.
I do not disagree. I think one of the hardest things for any fan is to admit when their favorites do not always play well in the big moments.
And Ian, sorry, one last thing and I'll shut up. But no, Ian is exactly right. Lamar Woodley is still great. Woodley is still, I believe, top 10 all time in playoff sacks, along with Jimmy Harrison. But Lamar Woodley only played in so many playoff games, and that dude fucking made an impact every goddamn game.
I think Lamar Woodley was at the time one of my favorite players on that team. So I'm biased towards Lamar. I know his career didn't end the way a lot of people had hoped. I know he got paid and then got injured, had that soft tissue injury, put on some weight, and then it kind of compounded itself that kept getting those soft tissue injuries. Okay. Not making excuses for the guy. I know it didn't end the way we wanted it to. But
yes.
More whiskey.
More whiskey.
But Lamar absolutely earned that contract that he got. He had 2 or more sacks, I think, in his first 4 or 5 playoff games. I think
multiple sacks.
Yeah, multiple sacks in like 5 straight playoff games to start his career. Like, you don't see that. Guys don't do that. Like, he was a big game player.
It was insane, and
yeah,
that was why, Ian. They sacrificed James Harrison and they bumped Woodley, and they were like, James, you need to take a payoff cut.
Speaking of Woodley,
and he was like,
do you guys think he gets in the Hall of Honor at some point?
I think at some point.
No,
not soon, but at some point.
Really?
It's a tough one.
Man, it is a tough one. I mean, you're right, Ian. His career did not end well, but man, What a fucking gamer.
Ian, you're right. He had at least 2 sacks in his first 4 playoff games.
Yes.
And he had at least 1 sack in 7 of 8 playoff games. And like, seriously, and this is like, for everybody on Twitter that's like, oh, fucking fight me about TJ Watt. Fight me about Lamar Woodley, because that dude actually won shit and made big plays when it mattered most.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we expect from Michigan guys. They come up big in big moments
too.
You know, unlike the Ohio State players.
Yeah. Let's not forget, right? Super Bowl 43, the last one we won.
Yep.
Santonio Holmes caught that touchdown pass. There was time on the clock. The Cardinals got to midfield, and Lamar Woodley made a strip sack on that play.
That was fantastic.
That was a great
he
play.
dove in and reached out his hands and swatted the ball.
Brett Kiesel recovered it, and that was that.
That was it.
Exactly. But I mean, Warner was winding up to fire that ball down the field to Larry Fitzgerald, and there was time on the clock when Woodley made that play. Like, it was not a guarantee that we were going to win that game after Holmes' touchdown. And not only that, I mean, even the other plays that he made a strip sack against Baltimore. I think that he recovered
the great Sports Illustrated cover where he's standing over Flacco after the strip sack.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think that was the Isaac Redmond touchdown.
When you had Harrison and you had Woodley at their peak, it was insane. That was the best pass for it. It was better, I dare say, than Greg Lloyd and Green. It was better. Like, that was harder to defend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people often forget Woodley could actually drop.
He did. He had an interception.
Woodley could drop. Big and
drop. He could set the edge. He could break double teams.
Yeah.
He could do all of it. And basically, if you didn't double one, you doubled one, the other one was free. So it's like the other one's getting a one-on-one, you're fucked. So what do you do now?
Yeah.
You got to double them both. Good luck.
I don't
know how you're going to scheme that out.
And I will,
double
for as
tights.
long as I live, one of the plays I will always remember is the Deshae Townsend pick six against
Dallas.
Tony Romo in Dallas.
Yep.
But that play was made by Lamar Woodley walking the tackle back into Romo's lap that he couldn't step into the throw.
It was a bull rush, and he basically was going to throw hit. He was going to throw that tackle at Romo, and Romo knew he was going to get hit by his own player, and so he threw the ball early.
Yes.
It wasn't like, I'm going to get sacked. Oh, my God. It was, oh, shit, my right tackle is coming at my arm. I got to get rid of the ball.
Steelers Freak said in the chat that James Harrison is greater than TJ. And I think that is a fair point. And I know people sit there and say that I'm stupid, which is fair. But James Harrison's play, and I mean this, James Harrison's play in Super Bowl 43. Steelers Freak just tweeted that. But yes, like the Cardinals were right there. And please ask Kurt Warner or Todd Haley or Ken Wisenhunt about what they thought they had in that situation and what actually happened. And they will. And now I mean this. Could TJ make that play? Absolutely. Will TJ ever be in a position to make that play in a Super Bowl? I don't think so. And I don't know. You have to, but you also have to make plays along the way to get you to that.
Yeah, the thing about the 2008 Steelers defense was they were so fucking good individually. Yeah, that guys could just freelance like that. Like Dick LeBeau is like, okay, if you see something and you're sure it's there, play it. It's all right. Just play it. Tell your guy, hey, man, listen, I'm going to do this. Cover me. So I need you to cover the edge or whatever. And your guy next to you would do it. They were that good. They could do that kind of thing. You know, and Troy was all over the goddamn place. Like, you never knew what the hell Troy was going to do. He was that unpredictable. That dude would turn his back on the quarterback and run to where the play was going and then turn around and be like, yep, and make the play. But yeah, that James Harrison thing, no, I agree with you. Every single offensive coach has looked at that and said, no, he was supposed to rush that play.
Yep.
That was the expected play. And Harrison knew he was supposed to rush and took a step forward and then dropped into coverage and made that pick. And yeah, no, he wasn't supposed to be there. That was an amazing play. The return was, not exactly stellar. I think he probably should have given Chase Johnson, but it's fine.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Somebody posted to social media recently. It was a video that somebody took during Super Bowl 43. They were way up in the nosebleeds, and they were down towards the end where Harrison made the interception. And it's just one of the coolest videos to watch because you can see the play happen. You can see the interception. And what's really neat is you see all the fans, and you can see the Steelers fans, and they get this feeling like, oh, great, he made the interception. And then a couple seconds go by, and it's like, oh, wow, he's still going. And then it's like, holy shit, he might have a chance. And then it's like, holy shit, he did it. It's just the neatest video to see everything on. I'd never seen that view before.
Which encapsulates that moment for all of us.
Oh,
we all thought they had stopped the drive, right? We all thought they had stopped the drive and it was done. We were like, sigh of relief. Oh my God. And then they were like, holy shit, wait a minute. He might score. He might fucking score here.
Well,
yeah.
And who said it before? It was a 14-point swing. Was that Steelers Freak?
Yeah.
It was dude. That was a 14-point swing in a Super Bowl.
Yep.
That might be the greatest play of all time.
Yeah. When I remember watching that play in similar range of emotions, but there was a middle step for me.
How old were you when you watched that play?
Oh, that was what, 2008?
Yeah.
So it would have been 22.
Oh, you were actually in your 20s. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Ben was already collecting Social Security at that time.
Yeah.
Golf clap.
No, I remember watching it, and you're right. It was we stopped them, and then it was, and there was still like 10 or 15 seconds on the clock. So I was like, first it was we stopped them, then he got past the 50, and I was like, ooh, we might be able to get into field goal range here. And then like he kept running, and I was like, I was like, go out of bounds so we can kick a field goal and time doesn't run out. And then it was like, oh wait, he might actually score. Yep. And then time ran out, and I was like, I hope he scores. And then he got so there was that middle step for me of like, we got a shot at a field goal here because there was still time on the clock. But yeah, that was.
I still don't understand. To this day, I still don't understand how Larry Fitzgerald could run out of bounds to avoid blockers, which is what he did.
He did.
For about 30 yards. He ran out of bounds to avoid blockers, then ran back in to try and tackle Harrison, but it was too late. Thank God.
I want to read Yinzergear's comment really quick. He was at Super Bowl 43. He said in the stadium, the cheers got quiet when he was at midfield. Then the rising roar as people realized he was still alive. And oh my God, he has chills thinking about it all these years later. That's the beautiful thing of this, man. Of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just, I love it. Yinzergear,
the
well
beautiful
done.
thing was the 14-point swing, and then Tomlin walking out. And he says he looked at James, who was still laying down in the end zone. And all Harrison said was, I'm tired, boss.
And then you get perspective like Freak. I was in the middle of a large fucking ashtray called Iraq. I needed them to win that Super Bowl. Freak, thank you so much for doing that for us, brother.
Damn right.
And I'm glad they could win it for you, man. As far as OTAs this week, look, Mason's going to take the majority of the snaps, I would think, at one. I don't know who else would do it. I'm to the point now. I don't even blame Aaron Rodgers anymore. I think if
he's an asshole.
He is an asshole. But at this point, you are only hurting the team. If you're Omar and if you're Mike, you should have fucking had him in by now. And if he's not coming, you say, screw it, we're moving on. And
they should have done that months ago.
Yep. and they haven't. And if they bring this guy in a week before training camp starts in late July,
No, dude, they're not even gonna. It's gonna be August, the middle of August. Okay.
so you think they'll actually start camp before they bring him in?
Yes. If he follows the Brett Favre career twilight trajectory, it'll be August 18th when he rolls in. Okay? And this is Favre's last year in Minnesota. He showed up for camp at showed up to report at August 18th. That's pretty much what I think is gonna happen because unfortunately, Omar and Mike, they fucked the dog on this. They did.
Yes.
They did. They fucked the dog on this.
A visual I would like to watch, but
no,
yes.
they did though. They did because they allowed this asshole to hold the whole organization hostage.
Yeah.
And put all their eggs in that basket. And now they're basically fucked. It's like, okay, well, this guy, he's going to show up when he shows up if he wants to. Maybe, I'm annoyed as fuck. I'm already tired of Aaron Rodgers fucking bullshit, and he's not a Steeler. And I've said this before on this show, and I will say it again. And I'm pretty sure that what's going to happen is, like I said, he's going to sign late. They're going to start him. He's going to play for a couple of weeks. He's going to get hurt, and then he's gone. And then we're never going to hear from him again, ever. And then Mason and fucking Will Howard and Skylar Thompson or whoever the hell the third quarterback is going to be at that point will be the guys we're dealing with.
Scarps, is it possible that the Steelers are actually okay with the way this is playing out? Because if Rodgers decides to, let's say, retire.
Mark, can you read Burner's comment, please?
Sure. The Meals on Wheels lady spiked Ben's food.
That's Freak's comment. No, Burner's comment.
Burner's. I'm sorry. Hey, Burner. I'd love to see Ben do a field sobriety test right now.
Go ahead and read Ben's comment right now.
Ben is not sober. Okay. I think the cat is out of the bag, ladies and gentlemen. Scarps, here's my question. Can the Steelers spin this to say that when Rodgers announces, you know what, I'm not going to play for anyone, I'm just going to go off and enjoy some retirement? Can they spin this as, well, hey, we thought he was coming, and so we're going to stand by Mason, and we're going to go, 5-12 now?
Well, we know Scarps will stand by Mason.
No, but this isn't necessarily about Mason. It's about the optics. It's about the way that this optics wise, yes, they're going to have to go that route. They're going to say we had full confidence in Mason the whole time. We prepared that Mason was going to be the starter. We only had conversations with Aaron to see where his head was, where he wanted, if he was still
lies,
playing.
Pretty much lies. Yeah. Lies.
Oh yeah. I mean, as a PR guy, sometimes you got to lie, but sometimes you don't have to. And that's the thing. It's like they as much as I hate that Rodgers isn't here, I actually think they've done an okay job the way they've spoken to the media about this. Because Omar talked about having 4 quarterbacks in camp, and they're absolutely going to have 4 quarterbacks in camp. Now, whether Aaron Rodgers is one of those people or not remains to be seen. But I've said this from the beginning. I haven't blamed Aaron Rodgers in this situation at all. Okay. But the Steelers are at a breaking point right now where if they too quickly pull themselves out of the Aaron Rodgers discussion, they're going to look bad. Yep. And if they continue to let this go on long enough, they're going to look bad. They're screwed regardless.
Yeah.
They're not and the only way that they would have not been in this situation is that if they would have, kind of like the Giants did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Giants early on said, we're not interested in Aaron Rodgers. And now the Giants have Jackson Dart, Tommy Colcott, Russell Wilson.
We had last year.
Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And I'll tell you this right now. I'd rather have that lineup of quarterbacks than the ones we have right now.
Yeah.
Even with Aaron Rodgers.
What you're trying to say is that Mason Rudolph sucks.
No, it's not that Mason Rudolph sucks. Mason is okay. He's okay,
Is he better than Tommy Coldcuts?
100% he's better than Tommy Coldcuts.
Yes, I would take him over Tommy Coldcuts. Ian, what would it take in a trade to get Kirk Cousins?
Too much for a guy who can't move anymore.
Who can't push off his set foot.
But in all seriousness, I mean, everybody seems to think that the default here is if Rodgers moves on, doesn't play football, that, okay, we'll trade for Cousins. Well, yeah, we've got 12 picks going into next year, but the thought process is we're going to use those to move up and get the franchise quarterback of the future.
We're not.
I don't want to spend them on a guy like Kirk Cousins for a year.
No, and given the amount of guaranteed money that's in Cousins' contract and what we would have to pay him, unless and this is part of the negotiation now, right? Because they changed the rules about guaranteed money. It used to be when you traded for a player, you took on his whole contract. Now it's like, oh, well, the team that gives him away can pay some of his guaranteed money, so you don't have to pay him as much.
Right.
So you can kind of negotiate picks that way. I mean, I would say right now, like, if you're taking on his whole contract, nothing more than a 6th round pick.
Let's talk about his whole contract. What is that amount of money? The guaranteed money is
it's actually not as much as you think.
It's $37.5 million.
Yeah. Which is, I mean,
it's $37.5 million for a guy who can't push off with his back foot because he tore his Achilles, which is why he was so goddamn bad last year.
Right. Well, and the problem is that since he's been on the roster through March, that his 2026 $10 million bonus is guaranteed, right? Yep. So the Falcons have already paid out his bonus for this year, whatever it is. And Ben's right. So it's essentially $27.5 million for this year that you'd have to pay him, plus a $10 million guaranteed roster bonus for next year. And
so if the Falcons are going to trade him, they're going to have to pay some of that
$10 million bonus.
And maybe if they give up, let's say half of that money, half of that $37 million, they're going to get a 5th rounder in return. I don't know why they didn't just cut him.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been smarter just to cut the dude.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they should have cut him before his roster bonus guarantee.
Yeah.
It was stupid the way they handled it. It was fucking dumb. But it is what it is. Cousins wants to play another year to prove that he can still play. That he's not the guy who's so badly hurt that he can't push off the back leg. Really, last year he wasn't healthy, blah, blah, blah. The dude, I'm sorry, the evidence just tends to indicate that he is not there anymore. I mean, he gave a master class on guaranteed contracts and how to earn money in the NFL. The guy's made seriously $375 million. It's ridiculous how much money he's made.
He's got a beautiful home up here on Lake Michigan.
The dude has made
large.
A ridiculous amount of money for being an adequate starter. But he's not an adequate starter anymore.
No.
Fuck that. Don't want it. No.
Yeah.
That's my take. I'd rather start Skylar Thompson than bring in Kirk Cousins at this point. Seriously.
So, Mark, to answer your question, I wouldn't give up more than a 6th if you have to take his whole contract on. Maybe even just if you have to take the whole contract on, maybe it's even a future 7th, not even a current year 7th.
A 37th round.
Ben,
pick.
let me finish my point. If you get the Falcons to take on some of the money, then maybe you bump that up to a current year 6th, or as Ben said, maybe a 5th. If I'd say a 5th only if they're taking on that full $10 million guaranteed for next year. But if it's less than that, there's no way it's more than a 6th.
Yeah, I do like the fact that that Cousins is a good guy, and I think he's a good locker room guy. I think those types of things. But at this point in his career, that doesn't really matter. just stick with what we got. Next week we'll start tackling what's going on at OTAs a lot more. I want to dive into some of these younger players and even some of these undrafted free agents that maybe making some noise. Some guys expected to do some things and all that, but until then, I will turn it over to Mr. Casey Kasem.
Oh boy,
he's right.
Casey.
Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was May 22nd, 1986. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, there's a penny on the floor, and you're standing at the door.
Oh, yeah.
Turn around and say goodbye. A quarterback like you comes around just once a life. Casey, that's, of course, Penny on the Floor by Pittsburgh band The Clarks off their self-titled album in 1991. I'm sure you heard that the U.S. Treasury today said it will no longer mint pennies. That's good news for the loose change at the bottom of my glove box, which will now be worth a fortune. Speaking of the Clarks, what all started as a basketball play between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese at a WNBA game turned into another Clark, former Steeler Ryan Clark to be exact, having a Twitter beef with Robert Griffin III, where Ryan Clark said, when I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. Casey, for a minute, I totally agreed with Ryan Clark because I thought he was referring to RG3's love for the 2008 movie Milk, starring Sean Penn, James Franco, and Josh Brolin. In fact, Sean Penn won an Oscar for that performance.
He did.
But quickly, I realized that the two were not talking about the movie. The situation got out of control to the point that RG3 had to write a novel about why he loves his wife, because we should routinely justify why we choose to marry our spouse. Then former Steelers nobody, Le'Veon Bell, called out Ryan for having a biracial child. And if there's anyone who's known to have an excellent moral compass, surely it's Le'Veon Bell. I won't bring up the accusations about his cousin. Anyway, I'm also surprised Antonio Brown didn't chime in, but he was too busy getting well, never mind. Casey, just when I thought I hadn't seen that much beef since Wendy's introduced Dave's Triple. Former Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger once again couldn't let Mason enjoy his 3 seconds of fame and invited sixth round pick Will Howard on the podcast. Casey, I'm not sure you know this, but Ben has had every quarterback he's ever played with on his podcast, except Mason. That's right, Casey. Charlie Batch, B. Left, Tommy Maddox, even Mike Vick. And who could forget Landry Jones? At this point, how can you not think Ben has a hard-on for Mason? He always seems to go out of his way to take a shot. Well, Ben, I have news for you. You old cowboy, Mason is, in fact, tough enough. Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars and keep your radio tuned right where it is. Up 9 spots to number 35 this week. Here's the fabulous Thunderbirds with Puffin Up.
All right.
That was good. That was good. That was a good one.
Yes, as Ian pointed out during Casey's rant there, it's been a banner week for former Steelers. Holy shit. Wow. Thanks, everybody. We've given you almost 90 minutes of hopefully some good Steelers talk, past, present, future, and all kinds of great stuff. Make sure you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com, and our socials as well. Thanks to our sponsors, DEK Roofing Incorporated, Variety Sports Network, and, of course, Frank Walker Law. And I think that is just about it. And, hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.
Well, there it is. Okay.
There we go.